right. What are the next big trends and/or styles that you see coming up in craft beer today?
That's got to be you, man.
Interesting. Thanks.
Well, yeah. Have you seen your list?
Brian specializing in Belgian beers.
Well, yeah. I think clearly, and it's not something that we don't see, that barrel-aged anything is getting really huge. And you can also see that because you used to be able to you'd have to call up a wine or you'd have to call up a whiskey place to get barrels. And now there's companies that are building themselves just on being that middle guy for barrels, and the demand and the price is going up too. So barrel age in general, which is a tedious task, I think is a big upcoming. Sours specifically.
Yeah, I think sours. I would agree that sours, I think, are kind of the next style that's coming. Just from watching, the nice part about still bartending a little bit in the brew pub is that I hear what people from out of town are coming in and liking, and we've been trying to keep a sour on tap, and I hear over and over again, oh, these are so hard to find. I always love when I see a place with a sour, and I think it's coming throughout the country, but it's a little newer arrival here.
I think I'm going to disagree. I just wanted to say that tonight. Like, I just wanted to be I disagree. So, like, this is the beginning. We're going to say it many more times. We're going to keep working that in there, right? But seriously, I do disagree. I think that's actually a very small demographic that actually likes the sour beers. They have a very tart flavor to them, and it's I think it's a relatively small portion of the populace that actually will go for that. Is it rare? Yes. And like those guys that seek out the rare beers, boom, they're on it, all over it. I'm one of those. I just don't think it's going to be a trend. What I've seen in the last couple of years, like the last decade, things have just gotten bigger, heavier, more hops, more malt, more everything, just up. I think we're going to start swinging back downward. Because at some point, everything starts to taste the same a little bit. You just start getting just nothing but hops, it's overload. And so I think we're going to start coming back down to more drinkable things where you can sit down. Instead of having like 2 and out, you're going to have more like 4, and maybe 5, and then out.
Can I agree with you disagreeing?
Absolutely.
I think there's room for both. I mean, I really do think that sours are getting a lot more light. I think 5-10 years ago, most people had no idea what they even were, and the fact that people are even acknowledging what they are proves that I think that it is. But I agree, it's not going to take over. It's not going to be the new IPA. And I do agree with you that I think that flavorful session beers are coming back into play.
I have been thinking along those lines for a while, in that innovation is a stereotypical American profile. I want to throw steak and peanut butter into my beer because I can.
Quite judging one of those, Dale. They exist.
I know it because I remember reading about peanut butter beer back in Colorado in 1997. I mean, this is nothing. It's just grown. I think there's a growing, not a backlash, because there's always going to be room for innovation, and I applaud that. But people coming to let's say a bar, not a brew pub, but a bar, are going to come up and say, what is that? What's Mugwump Monster? Well, you've got to define a style in order for people to identify with what it is. Because there are certain breweries that are, they say, I refuse to brew anything to a style specifically. And again, I like the innovation. But I think we're going to see some more movement towards tradition, which is where beers came from. People are going to say, I want a beer that tastes like a beer. And I think session beers it's going to be a ways out, I think, because we've certainly had a lot of noise. And the IPAs and the sours, and I never used to like sours. One of our former brewers, Nate, was over at the Thirsty Pig and brought over a growler sour, and I loved it. So there's certainly room for, and that's why there's styles all over the place. That's why we have how many styles now, Dave?
138.
Designated. Yeah. Like so there's plenty of room for variety within the styles.
We're making new styles all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I have to, first I want to give a nod to Allison, who's making the best sours in the Twin Ports. If you want sour, go
Yep.
You are right. You know, the sours are the sexy beer right now, and if you can make one that the public will drink, then you're a rock star. But session beers, you want to know what's going to be popular, see what the brewers are drinking. You know, we make 15 different IPAs a year. We're not going to stop. We just, you know, we're inventing new ones all the time. And the public loves that, and they're going to. But look at what the brewers are drinking. We're drinking Minnesota Nice, session beer with a bunch of hop aroma that's 4.8%. We're drinking Pilsners. You know, we're drinking beers that we can enjoy ourselves and continue to function on. It's a fact. I mean, you know, we don't sit around and drink all day. We're forced to taste, and, you know, like at my old job, for example, we had exactly X amount we could taste in our panels so that nobody would get a DUI. I mean, that's how, you know, regimented it was. But hybrid beers are also going to be a big trend. Beers that right now it's all about Belgio-Americans, which I'm not a fan. I'm just going to be honest, but they're bringing in American flavors with Belgian flavors, and actually Brian's probably going to be really good at this. I think. You know, there can be really good ones. I just have had some I haven't liked, but that's big. And then the other big trend is collaborations. Everybody and their sister and their nephew and their grandpa is going to collaborate on a beer. You're going to notice that all the brewers are doing collaborations, and that way, and the public is just eating that up. That's my. We're going to make session beers endlessly.
Well,
And we should.
And
I mean,
IPAs.
it's good for business too.
Yeah. the new Sierra Nevada session IPA, Nooner. It's a great name. You know, supposed to have it with your lunch.
Sure.
Don't know what you guys were thinking, but that's what it's for.
Anybody else?
but I mean, I think the other trend that I see continuing is just more of a move toward locally produced. I mean, that's the thing that's been going on, but I see it growing and growing and growing where people are looking for more of a local, I mean, what's the beer that's brewed here? That's why we have so many breweries, and that, you know, why the explosion is, and I think that'll continue. I mean, I think people will be looking for that local flavor more and more. I'm finding Bud Light drinkers who are coming into the pub and trying our craft beer, which tell you what, 5 years ago I wouldn't have seen a whole lot of Bud Light drinkers trying an IPA or a red ale or some stout that we've got on tap. So I think that's, you know, a continuing trend as opposed to a new one.
And that gets back a little bit to your question of what's the trend. I was just thinking about it a little harder. I think it's education, because sour beers have been there forever. You know, IPAs have been around for a long time. It's people's education and being exposed to those different styles finally. And they're going, wow, I've never heard of this before. I'm gonna drink this now, because this is a new discovery and it's fun, exciting. I'm gonna try, you know, a cherry sour and a strawberry sour and a peach sour and a whatever other kind of, you know, old sock sour, anything, you know, because I'm on sour beers now, but because they finally got educated to it. So you're right. You know, it's educating people is certainly a component of that.
Businesses like yours, the media is a huge friend of ours right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because if people are told that this is what they should be checking out, they do. New York Times, big help. Craft is king right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bud's losing market share every day. I don't have any ill will against them, but that doesn't bother me.
No.